you, and I'm going to bring it to, I'm going to ask this question to Kim. So do you have a particular way you organize or structure content as you build your online course material?
Thank you, Joss. Yes, and I love to kick this off because I want to say that we are mimicking with these coffee talk sessions some of the ways that we go about structuring and organizing our own courses. And so we started with the syllabus, and that's usually where we start, is we go to that syllabus and we look at the elements. Those are the building blocks that we're going to use for our course design, and especially the unit structure. So whether that's by week, by chapter, by module, however you have it. And then the biggest thing we have, if you want to go to the next slide, is our course learning objectives. So the measurable course learning objectives become the guide for all of our decisions about content, organization, and structure. So for example, I'm going to thread a little example with my response here. If I'm in a Physics 101 course and I have as this higher level objective, a course level objective, evaluate how modern physics theories can explain events better than classical physics. That's one of several course level objectives that I have. I'm going to build around that and build for this. So we think first of the end. So we have the end in mind first, and then we start to structure backwards from there. From this, we take that syllabus and the elements that we have. If you go to the next slide, Joss, we map out exactly how we're going to, what elements we need in our course to be able to help our students achieve that objective. So the objective is the big picture here. And then we take those modules or the weekly chapter elements and we put them here on the side. If you look at this left column, we're putting in module title or unit titles. And then we decide which course level objectives we're going to treat or touch upon in that course, in that module or unit. And so here I just have it in numerical. We usually put a number to our course level objectives. We might have 5, we might have 8 course level objectives. And so we put those there. And then we break those down into smaller units where we say, in this module, we're going to help them. What do they need first to be able to build to that higher level objective? Go back to this, yes. And so, for example, if we're getting them to this higher level, so if you remember in masterclass, we talked about Bloom's taxonomy and how we have a high level, some higher level outcomes, and we have some lower level. We start with the lower level outcomes. So here, recall, that's like remembering, summarize, it's really just stating the things that are there, and we're building towards that place where we can then evaluate. So that's that higher level objective. And then this feels a little unnatural to people, but the first thing we do after that is decide, well, what assessment are we going to be able to use to be able to assess if that module level objective is met, and then how to build up to that course level objective. So we list out our assessments first, and then we start to get together our activities and learning materials. Now, a lot of people will go backwards. They think that they have to start with the materials they have, just put them online, and then they decide their assessments later. We do the backwards way. So we have all of this set up so that we work backwards. It's called backwards design. We think of the end first and build backwards from there. And then if you go to the next slide, Joss, we flip that to where we start to build out our outline. And in the outline, so we always give a course overview first. So the very first thing is we tell them what those course level objectives are. We give the description of the course. We list the instructors. We tell them just that basic overview of the course. We do that first. And then there are 4 elements in Open edX that you need to pay attention to be able to build. The first one is you need sections. These are your modules. Think of your weekly units, your chapters, whatever they are. We build those first. And then we have subsections after that where it's smaller topics within those sections, those modules. And then the unit titles, think of a page. We have a page that fits into that subsection. And then within that, we have components. So it's these 4 things: section, subsection, unit, and then component. In the component, that's our content. So what kind of PDFs do we have? What kind of images or videos? What learning materials? What interactives do we have? And what assessments? Those are the components. So if you go to the next page from there, so now this is our brief outline, we build it out into a bigger, we usually take a separate document first and we put it all there. We are big Google Doc users, and so we'll do this on Google Docs. We'll work together a lot of times as instructional designers, alone, know, if you are a faculty member, you can do it alone as well. You put that overview first, and then you start building out those sections, subsections, topics or units, and then you go into those components. So the little granular things. So we start listing out exactly what video we're using. We list out what text we're going to put in, what readings we're going to put in, and we have this in a document, and then we start building in Open edX. If you go to the next page, just to show you what it looks like a little bit in Open edX. So if I'm just going to do this briefly, just the outline structure at least, in Open edX, I first start with that section. So for example, Module 1, Intro to Modern Physics, that goes into the section area of Open edX. So if you've been through your How to Build in Open edX, you'll see that you have a section, and then our subsection, What is Physics? Our unit might be basic physics. So that's one page that we talk about basic physics. And then we put the components there. So there's a text box and a video there. And then we do the next subsection that fits into that intro to modern physics. We say classical versus modern physics. We have 3 pages here, classical, modern physics, and then comparing old and new. And then we go to the next section or the next unit and start doing that. So this is how we build out that outline. And then afterwards, if you go to the next page, we go to the components. Now this, my colleague Christy is going to talk a little bit more about this, but these components are the building blocks of your PDFs, your videos, all of those types of things. So that's how we structure it. We lay it out first elsewhere, and then we bring it in, and we always think of that end first. So that end goal of how we're going to build to that course level objective. So I'll turn that over. I think my part's done, and I'll let you ask the next question.